Testing. Welcome to my channel. I see you will cut your hair, combed it neatly. Thanks for dressing appropriately as well. Those aren't jokes, that's true. I'm really confused the fuck out. I'm allowed to swear, yeah. Could have been this thing, right? Nah, relax, it is a joke. You guys dressed properly, cut your hair, combed, fantastic. We're not going to learn about demands for self-rule in Canada. So moving away from British rule. People are clapping. Screaming, shouting, stamping. Fantastic. Would you mind turning the air conditioning up a little bit? Just, we're from Britain, so we're used to the heat. Moving away from British rule, though. So we're from Britain. Ever since 1783, everyone in America, which isn't me, can say independence was won. Well, good for you. Really turn it up. What, you don't think I meet people? Well, it's so cold here in South Africa. So we're going to start with Henry VII. Since the time of Henry VII, many Scottish and English Protestants, they were encouraged to move to Ulster and throughout Ireland. Encouraged, which means they got money from the Anglican Church. Everyone was paying tax to. So throughout Ireland, though mainly Ulster, the northern province, was then populated by Protestants from Scotland and some from England, and then slowly but surely all the land got bought and farming transformed. But we're not going into the famine just yet. We're going into how suddenly people who felt the land was theirs as a birthright were paid by an outside religious source, one that took them about, I don't know where the Catholicism came from, the Irish Romans initially. But they somehow broke free from the taxes of the Roman Catholic Church, were happy to keep the religion, and they didn't want the Anglicans saying, oh, we've got all this money, give us more. Yet that's what was happening, and that made them very, very, very irritated, because there were laws that were passed, and there were political and economic laws. And they protested in 1801, and they repealed the law that forbade Catholics from being elected to office. So it was so bad that if you had the wrong religion, they didn't want you as a ruler. Now, I'm not talking about they who are our friends and everyone we know, real people. I mean the concept. The establishment didn't want anyone of a different religion other than Anglican in office. So they were more worried about people than the religion. They were saying, well, Catholic people, we're not from there, rather let the Anglican people, we're from the East, let them rule. They'll be unfair to the other people who were here before us. And in 1801, they repealed the law that forbade Catholics from being elected to office. So it wasn't even just that all of a sudden one day they made a law. It was just like from the beginning, no one of that religion is allowed to say anything, sit down, not even drinking. No, we'll drink, we'll talk, you sit. And Irish people didn't like that at all. In the religious, economic roots, high rents and taxes to the Anglican Church. There was a reform bill in 1932 which didn't do a hell of a lot, because the original landowners didn't have what they once had. They weren't growing what they once grew. I mean, everyone knows Ireland, they drink beer. So, how they starved from lack of potatoes when they had barley is anyone's guess. The potatoes don't come from Ireland. Potatoes come from South America. They were used as a feedstock. We were like, okay, let's keep the wheat for bread, because we're humans and we're super important. And we were like, okay, what's cheaper than bread and wheat? And we can feed our animals. And we decided the potato, great. something from a whole other place, cheap, done, seeds itself from roots, perfect, and then blight hit it in 1840. Whew. It was a mainstay of the Irish diet. I mean, is that like a joke? Mainstay rum, vodka. Because, I mean, what are you really trying to do here? You've taken a plant that doesn't belong there and you've put it in a land that you've never been to. It just reeks of it. The land being rebought and the farming techniques changing from the old Irish techniques of farming barley for bread, for beer, for feedstock for animals, and for whiskey. If you've ever had really, really good whiskey, single malt whiskey, that will have only barley in it. There's an enzyme called amylase that digests starches into sugar, so you add it to other stuff to make bourbon. We're not going to go into the differences, just that barley's got extra stuff in it. It's got a thing called hordenin, which makes you less depressed. So how did these people starve? 20,000 people. 20,000 Irish die of starvation. Surely that's an employment thing. 1 million die of disease because they were weak from hunger. And then late in the 1800s and early 1900s, there was a revolutionary movement that said, okay, we want home rule. In 1869, Gladstone freed Catholics from taxes to the Anglican Church. Imagine you're of a certain religion, you've got to pay another religion, or you don't even pay your own. And that's got to be super frustrating. So Gladstone freed them in 1869. 1870, immigration to the United States, there were Land Acts, 1870 and 1881, no sudden eviction, fair rents, possibilities of buying land. I mean, that's where everyone wanted to go. So they did. 1 million dying of disease because they were weak from hunger. 20,000 dying directly from starvation. Employment. So in 1912 there's a Home Rule Bill. And 100,000 volunteers from Northern Ireland, Protestants, they resisted and they said, no, keep the Anglican Church, keep us rich, keep putting it in our pockets. 1814, another bid for Home Rule, excluding Ulster, saying Northern Ireland, you can keep your Northern Ireland, we want Southern Ireland. And it was postponed because of war. Imagine the frustration of the Irish people. Yet, who were the Irish people? Where did Catholicism come from? Were they not just the same as the Anglicans before? Lots of history is lost, some of it remains. Next time, we'll dig deeper.